Do subscribe Learn Nepal for more videos.
Dear friend, Namaste. This video is related to Unit 8 of Grade 12 Meaning into Words. And especially in this video, I am dealing with 8.4 courses of accents. So here we are giving suggestions to someone to take certain course of actions using ought to, ought not to, might as well, and there is no point in. Dear friend, in your examination, you may be asked a question. Change the suggestions below using ought to, ought not to, might as well, or there is no point in. For example, don't take your children to see that film, it will frighten them. Let's not sell it, it's not worth anything anyway. Why don't we give it away? It's not worth anything anyway. Don't ask him, he does not speak English. Why don't you take a pullover? You haven't got plenty of room in your case. And we have to change the given suggestions using ought to, ought not to, might as well, or there is no point in. So let's know where to use ought to, ought not to, might as well, or there is no point in. So we use ought to in the sense of it is good thing to do, or if you want to suggest someone it's good thing or it's good idea to do, therefore you have to do it. So in the sense of you have to do it because it is good idea, you have to use ought to. And just opposite, ought not to. We use ought not to in the sense of it is bad thing or it is bad idea to do. Or if you want to suggest someone that it is bad thing to do, therefore don't do it. Don't do it. Otherwise its result, outcome would not be good. So in the sense of don't do it, you use ought not to. Similarly, might as well. We use might as well in the sense of it won't do any harm. Or if you want to suggest someone, it is not necessary to do, but even if you do it, it won't do any harm. So in the sense of even if you do it, it won't do any harm, though it is not necessary. So in this sense, you use might as well. And ultimately, there is no point in. So we use there is no point in the sense of it won't do any good. Or if you want to suggest someone, it is meaningless, it is worthless to do it because it won't do any good, therefore it is meaningless. So in the sense of it is meaningless to do, worthless to do, we use there is no point in. So in this way, in the sense of it is good thing to do, therefore do it, we use ought to. It is bad thing to do, therefore don't do it, we use ought not to. In the sense of it won't do any harm, or it is not necessary to do, but even if you do it, it won't do any harm, we use might as well. And it won't do in the sense of it won't do any good, or it is meaningless, it is useless, or it is worthless to do, we use there is no point in. So let's see some examples. Don't take that medicine, it's expired. See the reasoning. Don't take that medicine, it's expired. It means it is bad thing to do. It is bad thing to take that medicine because it is expired. Therefore, we use here ought not to. Similarly, let's go to cinema. We have nothing to do today. So let's see. Let's go to cinema. See the reason. We have nothing to do today. It means it is not necessary to go to cinema, but even if we go, it won't do any harm because we have nothing to do today. Therefore, in the sense of it won't do any harm, obviously we use might as well. Similarly, let's not wait for the lift. He only lives on the first floor. Let's see. Let's not wait for the lift. He only lives on the first floor. It means it is useless, it is meaningless waiting for the lift because he only lives on the first floor. Therefore, it won't do any good waiting for the lift. Therefore, we use here there is no point in. And finally, see, why don't you take that medicine? Your health is getting worse day by day. It means it is good idea, it is good thing to take medicine because your health is getting worse day by day. So here we have to use ought to. So now let's be familiar with the structures. So while using ought to, ought not to, and might as well, we use V1 after it. For example, subject ought to plus V1, subject ought not to plus V1, subject might as well plus V1. But if you are using there is no point in, so the preposition in here, it takes V4 or ing form of the verb. There is no point in plus V4. So V1, V1, V1 means ought to, ought not to, might as well, V1, and there is no point in V4. So now let's change these suggestions using ought to, ought not to, might as well, or there is no point in. And we have already discussed which one to use. Now let's put them in the structures. Don't take this medicine, it's expired, it is bad idea to do, therefore ought not to. So you say you ought not to plus V1 take here. You ought not to take this medicine. It is not necessary to mention a reason here. Similarly, let's go to cinema. We have nothing to do today. So means it is not necessary, but if we do it, it won't do any harm, therefore might as well. So we might as well go to cinema. V1, go. Similarly, let's not wait for the lift. He only lives on the first floor, means it is meaningless to wait for the lift. So we are using there is no point in. So there is no point in plus V4, waiting. So there is no point in waiting for the lift. Similarly, why don't you go to hospital? Your health is getting worse day by day. It is good idea. So do it. Therefore, ought to. You ought to plus V1, go to hospital. So now let's solve some questions that are given in your exercise 8.4. Change the suggestions below using ought to, ought not to, might as well, or there is no point in. So first question, don't take your children to see that film, it will frighten them. It means don't do it, or it is bad idea, a bad thing to take your children to see that film because it will frighten them. Therefore ought not to. You ought not to take your children to see that film. Similarly, let's not sell it, it's not worth anything anyway. It means it is meaningless to sell this because it has no any value, or you will not be benefited, therefore it is meaningless. So we are using here there is no point in. There is no point in plus V4, selling it. Why don't we give it away? It's not worth anything anyway. So here let's see, why don't we give it away? It's not worth anything anyway. It means it is not necessary to give it away, but even if we give it away, it won't do any harm to us because it's not worth anything anyway. Therefore might as well, it won't do any harm even we give it away. So we might as well give it away. Similarly, don't ask him, he does not speak English. So here it is meaningless to ask him because he does not speak English. It is useless. Therefore it is we are using there is no point in. There is no point in asking him. So here do not be confused. you should not suggest don't do it, it is bad idea, because it is not bad idea, but if you do it, it won't do any good, or it is useless, meaningless. Therefore we are using here there is no point in. There is no point in plus before asking him. Similarly, why don't you take a pullover? You have got plenty of room in your case, in your suitcase, maybe. So let's see once again. Why don't you take a pullover? You have got plenty of room in your case. It means again, it is not necessary. It is not, you can say, mandatory to take a pullover, but you can do this, or you can take it, and even you take it, it won't do any harm because you have got plenty of room in your case. So here we can use might as well. So you might as well take a pullover. Similarly, why don't you take a pullover? It might turn cold. See, why don't you take a pullover? It might turn cold. It means it is good idea to take a pullover because it might turn cold. Therefore, do it, take it. So we have to use ought to. You ought to plus V1 take a pullover. Let's not talk about it now. The children are listening. It means it is bad idea to talk about it now because the children are listening. Therefore, don't do it. Do not talk about it now. So we are using here ought not to. So we ought not to talk about it now. And the last one, let's not argue about it. That won't solve the problem. It means very clear. It is meaningless, it is useless to argue about it because it won't solve the problem. So in this sense we use there is no point in. So there is no point in plus before arguing about it. So please remember, most of the students, they make mistake here. They use to after point. There is no point to, but please remember no point in plus before. There is no point in arguing about it. Let's do 3 more questions. Let's watch television. There is nothing else to do. Yes, here. If you watch the television, it won't do any harm because there is nothing else to do. Therefore, you can use might as well. We might as well watch television. Why don't you get up early? You might miss the college bus. See, this is good idea. Means wake up, get up early. Otherwise, you might miss the college bus. So it is good idea to do or to get up early. So we use ought to. You ought to get up early. And the last one, let's not use the mobile now. The exam is going on. Yes, it is bad idea to use mobile now because the exam is going on. So we use ought not to. We or you ought not to use the mobile now. Thank you very much for watching this video. Apart from this, I will be posting other related videos of your course. So please do not forget to subscribe this channel and put your comments and share it if you liked it.